Hello, good day, everybody. It's Fallon, aka Amore the Poet, pound 24. How is everybody doing this morning, this afternoon, this evening? Hope everybody's in good spirits. I am, even though it just keeps snowing, like we're not supposed to be getting ready for spring and summertime. Like I woke up to a blizzard. Well, not a blizzard, but a lot of snow. But anything like over an inch is a blizzard. I hate this weather. Anyways, today our poem and our talk will be about being locked up. I decided we needed a little laughter today. It's not funny being locked up at all, but it was a wake up call for me, and I got out of it, and I am glad I did. So maybe some people need to hear this message because if you ever go to the places that I've been, you won't want to go back. So I'm going to try to help somebody, with my story and my experience so you don't have to follow in my footsteps. This road, anyways. So there's different ways to be locked up, but I'm going to talk about being locked up behind bars. So I had the opportunity to be in a couple different counties. My first county was North Carolina County, and how I got there was just crazy. I caught myself running away with a friend of mine. We met some people on some type of hotline or whatever, going someplace, $300, that's it, got a bus, and now we in North Carolina, stuck. Then the girl forgot her insulin. I didn't even know what this was. She was a type 1 diabetic, but back then I'm, 15, 14, a teenager. I don't know what this stuff is or whatever. So I'm like, we get to the jail, and they say they got 24 hours to come and get us. And my grandma was like, you got down there, get back. So thank God she was a type 1 diabetic, and her family knew they needed to come and get her, so they got me too. So that was my first experience. And it wasn't bad because I was just like in a little holding cell. So, I was like, oh, okay, jail, it's not too bad. So then I got back home to New York, and I got to Ulster County Jail. Now this jail, because my mom had went there previously, a lot of times they already knew me. It was like I was a star when I went to this jail. They was like, that's little Twister's daughter, you know what I'm saying? Come here, honey, you need some cigarettes, you need this. I'm like, this is jail. I got extra cookies, like snacks, extra soap. Like, I was like, I can do this. So it wasn't that bad, because my mom paved the way. So I was like, okay, I can do this. Like, you just go do your time, you get out, you cool. So then that was county number 2, Ulster County. So then the next county, number 3, was Lake County, Indiana. Now this jail, it was not too bad. Like, nobody knew me. I didn't know anybody. It was clean, a little bit upper class. I don't know if jail has like a status like that, but I didn't see any bugs running around, There were showers and everything like that. But it was just being locked up, I can survive being locked up for a little while, but not just locked up for months and years like that. And these people were like comfortable with that. So, and then, you didn't really get your visits. People were always on the phone. I ran the phone bill up. I'm telling you, when I got out, phone bills was $3,000, $6,000, and don't answer it and see what happens when I get out of jail. I'm going back to jail. Well, back then I was going to go back to jail, but not now. I'm calling the police first. Okay, now I will call the police first. So if you're listening, remember that. So then I got out of that jail, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't really want to keep going back to jail, but this jail isn't too bad. Jail number 4, that's it. I said, you know what? If you get me out of this one, I will never, ever, ever commit a criminal offense where I have to be locked up ever again. This was Cook County. Cook County was a wake up call that I needed to know that I didn't never want to go back to jail because I was going to be living, in Illinois, in Chicago for a while. And Cook County is the jail that you go to if you living in Chicago. So I knew right then and there, I said, oh no, it was so many people. I'm like, I like people and stuff like that, but not when we all locked up together and we can't get out. 50 people in one room, two showers, two toilets, all that is just unacceptable for me. And I mean, I understand like people go to jail because they're homeless or, you know, they don't have a place to live, they got kicked out, or they just want to be in jail. They keep committing crimes to go to jail. Their mental state, they locked up mentally, so they keep getting locked up physically. That shit right there showed me being locked up physically in Cook County that I was gonna fix this mental shit about being locked up because I was not going back to Cook County ever again once I got out of there. And when I first got there, I was like, because I was really there on a hold. I was on the run from the Lake County jail from some stuff that I had did or whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna just stay here my 30 days and then they gonna have to release me anyways. So let me just do my after day one. I said, oh no, they need to come and get me. When are they coming? Is Lake County coming for me soon? I've been here 4 days. When is Lake County coming? So finally they came after 6 days and got me, and I was so ecstatic. I mean, not to go to another jail, but just to get out of this jail because I just couldn't do it anymore. But I was happy that this jail did give me a wake up call that I stopped doing dumb shit to keep going to jail. I mean, I was locked up all my life in psych wards, in residential centers, group homes, different places like that. But I got another poem for that on another day. So I'm going to save that. We're going to talk about jail today. So after I finished my time at Lake County, that was it. I said, because I didn't want to go back to Cook County and I was living in Cook County, I just had to finish what I did living in Lake County. So after that, that's when I started going to school. Like, I might as well do something besides going to jail, go to school and learn some shit, because you're not going to learn shit in jail but had to be locked up, unfortunately. I didn't go to church in jail because I wasn't thinking like that. I just wanted to get the hell out of jail and get back out on the streets. But after I went to Cook County, I wasn't just going to get back out there on the streets. I was going to get back out there and do something different with my life so I didn't keep ending up in places like that, because that's not a good place for a person like me or anybody else who, has mental issues or has a right mind or is trying to get fixed or anything like that. You don't need to be locked up when you have issues up here. So, the poem I wrote today is called Locked Up. And that's what I'll read to you guys today. Okay? So, the first time was clear in my mind, but I was in shock that this time it was me. July 30th, and I had just had my sweet 16. I promise, this time it was really wrong place, wrong time. I had enough charges pending and was not committing any more crimes. I fought, which made it so much worse. I was out of control, but the beating I received from them officers were definitely cursed. I went in with a felony and 4 misdemeanors. The way I bit that officer, I knew I was going to be in jail forever. On top of that, a concussion, a broken nose, and a couple other bruises too. Who would have thought that I would have ended up in here? What did I do? At first it wasn't so bad because my mother had paved the way. Sat outside kicking it and smoking on hot summer days. My grandmother was visiting in the morning and my boyfriend in the noon. They helped me feel like I'd be leaving rather soon. The day finally came for me to depart. All charges dismissed off her charts. Something called 2 for 1 and time served with good behavior. Let me free to the hands of some more police. How clever. It's time for court for some charges you encountered before. Now here we go again, and I don't know if I can take much more. These cases were in my adolescence, and they handled me as such. I sentenced you to 1 year in OCFS custody, and boy was my heart crushed. It was a residential center, far away from my family. I think you were only allowed 3 5-minute phone calls per week. I joined the boot camp section to gain structure. As soon as I felt I was going home, my insides began to rupture. I left that place with a bracelet on my ankle, and I had to wear it for 30 days. 8 months on papers, a curfew way before 8. I'm so glad I finished a month after May. I thought and said, this will be my last episode. But my body was still in you like to go to jail mode. Now I get to this town where this girl thinks I like her man. We got in an argument and things hit the fan. Long story short, after the first fight, she wanted to keep going. In the end, they locked me up for doing the self-defense thing. It was 2 against 1, but they didn't have that law. Still until this day, I have a scar located on my jaw. This jail was different. I didn't know anybody, and nobody knew me. I lost a lot of weight due to the selections they gave to eat. I had to braid my hair straight to the back. I didn't want the girls to think I was fresh meat or came for any of that. Breakfast was promptly served at 4:30 in the morning. There was a lady who couldn't sleep, so all night long she would sing. This is where I learned how to make in-house jail burritos. Can you believe we used chili cheese corn chips to make the dough? Smoking was still allowed then, but I could only afford kites. A young lady was booked in, and with her she brought her lice. Visits were 10 minutes if they got to your name, so sometimes it was a waste of time that people even came. The panties they gave you ripped apart rather quickly. There were 2 showers, 2 toilets, 2 tables in the day room, all underneath the TV. 8 beds to a cell and a metal commode in between. I chose the top bunk because I chose not to be a part of the scene. Overall, besides the food, I have to admit it wasn't that bad. But when they announced my name over the loudspeaker, I was most definitely glad. I thought and said this would be my last episode, but my body was still in you like to go to jail mode. This jail was the ultimate, where rock bottom set in. When I get out of this one, I was done committing sin. I started in the holding cell at the police station. Once I seen the inside of there, I knew I was done. Lunch was thick meat with black eyes in it, so I had 2 pieces of bread and only mustard to go with. Then again in the squad car to another holding place. I was nervous because sometimes even with the police you can't be safe. I slept in the middle of the floor so no one was close to me. I knew this was a lesson I needed because this jail was not what I wanted to continuously see. In the paddy wagon, I arrived at the final destination. Lord, if you get me out of this one, I promise you win. There were so many of us getting booked in at one time. I can understand how being locked up can make you lose your mind. There were so many different people I could not believe. The lady officer said, "Ma'am, take off your clothes and later the weave." Excuse me, but today I happen to be on my friend. It doesn't matter, turn around, squat, cough, and later on the janitor will attend. Then it was so cold in the jailhouse uniform. It was about 50 of us on a single dorm. They had girls waiting for fresh meat to get out of the shower. I'm sorry, I've been to jail before, and this body you will not devour. The food was so nasty, I would not feed it to my worst enemy. The inmates weren't that bad, but the environment was nasty. They say no crime is greater than the other. But people were in there for putting babies in the microwave. How could a mother? Dinner was dog food that I couldn't manage to get past my throat. We never went outside, so I didn't need a coat. I was losing weight by the day due to the fact that I was so freaking hungry. It was about 4 days down the line when we could order commissary. This jail was misery and drained any life you had in you. I had been to other counties before, but this setting was something very new. I can hardly remember seeing any correctional officers. I'm glad this was happening in my younger days and not when I got older. This place had the nerve to give me a reality check. It made me realize I was tired of the streets and being on a deck. My freedom, I was no longer going to be given to jail. Freedom was so gone, they opened and scanned your mail. It showed me how important it was to get my life in order. I was growing up and no longer could I continue to act like I did before. I looked at people and seen that jail and their life was a major part. In my mind in life, this was the beginning of a brand new start. I wasn't taught about controlling my mind in the streets, so instead I ended up in here. After this experience, I knew I would not be back as my discharge date came near. Being behind bars and locked in 24 hours a day with no air, I committed the crime to pay the time, so even though I didn't like it, it was fair. I was so ecstatic that I had a change of heart and a change of mind. Finally, the demons were casted out of me, and now I could be kind. Whatever they did it well and made me know I wasn't coming back. When they called my name, I announced this will be the last time I will have to pack. No longer will I let my precious time be wasted behind bars. From now on, I can live through the spirit and watch my dreams go far. In this situation, there was some good that came out of the bad. The change was to better my well-being, and for that change, I'm glad. All the negative experience helped me to finally wake up and see. I did a 360, and nobody wanted to believe it was really me. It was a life-changing miracle that I probably would not have had to go through if back then I was told. Even though it took 3 counties, a paddy wagon, and a couple holding cells, my body was finally out of you like to go to jail mode. So with that, I hope people understand that we all go through things, and we have lessons that we go through, period, that we have to work through and stuff like that. I want you to realize that you're not alone. I fight these battles and experiences with you together. I'm here. I love you. Stay focused. Love, Amore, the poet, pound 24.